Coaches have told you for years that if you want to make the varsity basketball team, you just gotta work hard. But you're still not on the team, so what the heck is going on? Well, let me give you an analogy to explain what's going on here. So imagine you're in the water and you're swimming as fast as you can. You're paddling, giving it everything you have, putting in every ounce of energy and effort and hustle and heart. And then there's somebody next to you that just rows by you in a boat. The person that rode past you has leverage, and you don't. So working hard isn't enough to make the varsity team. It is required, but it is not enough. So how do we create leverage in our training? Well, let's dive into that right now. When I was back in high school, in my sophomore year, I scored 13 points on varsity. Impressive, right? I know. Then in my junior year, when I learned how to have leverage in my training, I scored 410 points, was crowned my team's MVP, and made first team all conference. So, the first thing that I learned to create leverage in my training was that you need to train at game speed. For years, I thought I was outworking everyone. I was doing so much better, and I had so much leverage in my training, but a lot of my workouts weren't as effective as they could have been. Because yes, maybe I was getting a couple hundred shots up a day, but the shots weren't translatable to the games. If you're just standing in one spot, not moving at game speed, you don't get those kinds of shots in the games, man. Unless it's a free throw. But even then, there's a lot of pressure in that moment. It's not like you're just in an empty gym, right? So you got to do things that will directly translate to the games. Some of the ways you can do that are by figuring out, okay, what situations do I get put into in the games a lot? Let's say your team has a play where you come off a off-ball screen and you shift down to the corner, right? When that happens, you have to be ready to take that shot. So in practice, you're going to work on that footwork. You're going to work on catching that ball and shooting quickly. You're going to work on the counter to that move. Right? Maybe you pump fake, get the defender in the air, and then go baseline. Right? This is how you actually become shifty and create a deep bag. Basketball doesn't need to be overcomplicated. Think about it like chess, right? You need to create a counter for each move that you do. So, in chess, when you're first starting out, you usually will be good at one opening, it's called. So, at the start of the game, you move the same pieces in the same order every single time because you need to master that opening, right? It's just like that Bruce Lee quote, I don't fear the man that knows 100 kicks or 1,000 kicks. I fear the man that has practiced one kick 1,000 times, right? So for you, if you want to get a deeper bag, if you want to become more shifty, harder to guard, pick one move, let's say the crossover, then have a counter to that. Let's say you do a double crossover. Then a counter to the counter. So you have the crossover, and then you have the double crossover, and then you have the crossover in and out. That's 3 moves. That is 3 types of misdirections. Now your bag is deeper. So if you lock in on that, you're going to have such an easier time when you get in the games to create separation, to score, and actually to mess up your defender. So training at game speed is the first part of leverage. And I mentioned the second one, it's practicing game-like scenarios, right? Like I said, you come off that screen, you get the shot in the corner, that's what you're getting in the game, so make sure to do that dozens and dozens of times in practice. You may not get as many shots up, all right? Like, there's a guy that might be shooting 200, 300, 400 shots a day in the same spot, like some kind of form shooting, but if you're getting 100 swishes and your form shots in every day and then the rest of your workout is game-like stuff, I personally think you're going to have a more effective workout, but that's just me. Next, you need obsession. So, there's a difference between just working hard and being obsessed. The obsession is the mental part, right? Because you can physically put a lot of work in. You can get in the weight room. You can work on your stuff on the court. You can get a lot of shots up, whatever. But when you're obsessed, you become smart. You build basketball IQ. And that is one of the greatest separators in this game. That's one of the reasons why I'm able to play at the college level. I'm 5'9", unathletic, but I'm able to compete with these guys because I've learned the game so much and I've obsessed, right? Without my basketball IQ, I wouldn't have gotten very far. So how can you increase your basketball IQ? Well, first things first, watch film. That is critical. Now, if you don't know how to watch film, I have videos on my channel explaining how to do that. But bottom line, find full basketball games online, whether it's on YouTube or whatever. Find those full basketball games and study them and make sure you can find, okay, what are some of the patterns that keep repeating? What can I do if I was in this situation? Right? That's going to help build that IQ. Second thing, you need to get in as many games as possible. So if you have some buddies that you can play basketball with, play with them. If you can get in some kind of off-season league, do that. See if your coaches have any scrimmages or running fives, like, open runs. See if you can get in that stuff too. Point number 3, you need to have a plan. The greatest improvement in my basketball skills came when I had a rigid training plan. Now, when I say rigid, I'm not just referring to doing the same exact thing every single time, but I had it written down on paper and I did what was on the paper or in my phone notes app. I didn't just wing it. I was either with my trainer who already created the workouts for me and he was guiding me through it, or I followed what I had written down. It's the same thing with the weight room. If you're just doing a bunch of random different stuff, you can't really progress as much, right? But let's say I want to build my chest strength. Let's say I bench and progressive overload for, let's say, 8 weeks. My bench is probably going to increase at least a little bit, right? But if I did all kinds of different stuff and then I hit the bench randomly on some 1 week, my bench strength is probably not going to improve. So have a strict plan, have a rigid plan that you follow, and dude, you're going to reap the rewards, man, because most other people your age don't have a basketball training plan. Now, if you don't know how to make a basketball training plan, click that top link in the description. It's called the Varsity Basketball Blueprint. It has in-season and out-of-season lifting routines, basketball workouts, everything you need. You don't even have to lift a finger. Just follow the workouts, and you will have great success. Click that link in the description. Number 4, maturity. Dude, if you want to make the varsity team and you want to actually stay there, you can't act like a little underclassman that's starstruck and just worried about making a mistake. You need to have this confidence in yourself that you belong, that you've earned this, and this is your domain. This is what you dominate in. A lot of times you'll see younger guys getting in the varsity game and immediately they pass to, one of the upperclassmen. But if you want to be different and you want to earn a spot, dog, you gotta stop being nice. It's cool that you respect your teammates and your coaches, do that. But also understand that they're on the same level as you. They're high schoolers. They're playing ball. And you just have less experience than them. And that's the only difference, right? If you outwork them, if you obsess over this, you will surpass them. But for right now, the only difference they have is more experience, more time. All right? So stop putting the varsity guys on a pedestal. You belong. Get yours. Now, last but certainly not least, man, if you work hard, you become very skilled. That's great. But if you don't know how to lead your team, you aren't coachable, you're just not good with team relations, you're going to struggle. That's big. If you're not a good locker room guy, that's going to hurt your draft stock, Coaches want the guy that's going to be, upbeat, bringing that positive energy, and is actually going to, be cool with his teammates. That's something I didn't really do in my sophomore year, and I wish I did. I was in that mode of just I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm just going to be on my grind and, work in silence. But looking back, it's kind of corny, first of all. And second, I think I would have been given more opportunities if I was closer with the varsity guys. Because, man, when I was on varsity and I was my team's captain and everything, the coach would give his ear to me sometimes. He'd say, all right, who's working hard? Who do you like? And I'd say, man, so-and-so is such a great teammate. He's, going to put his body on the line for the team. He's been in the gym. We all love hanging out with him. We got good chemistry. And the players that I would talk about sometimes got more minutes. So it just makes me think, man, like, dang, if that's my experience, I wonder what it was for the guys that were older than me. So you don't want to miss out on that. All right, man, I hope this video helped you. And once again, if you want a full guide to making the varsity team, click that link in the description. Now, if you want to know what to do in the offseason to make your varsity team, click this video. But as always, keep God first. Stay blessed, bro. Love you, man.